Greetings and welcome to CRT Gaming Podcast, episode number 47, Tobal 2. This is Johnson with... I don't know what was getting ready to happen there, but it scared me.
You just anticipate it now.
Yeah, I do. I got like a little small jumpy. That's Dazpick and Gohan there in the background, gentlemen. How you doing this evening, Dazpick?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Feeling good.
Good. Hope you're feeling your fighting spirit is strong. As switch over to Gohan here, he's going to explain why he chose Tobal 2 for us. It's a rather obscure fighting game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of a hidden gem. Everybody kind of remembers this game back in the day because it was people saw it as the pack-in game for the Final Fantasy VII demo, which I know the three of us were eagerly waiting on back in the day. And it just so happened that with Final Fantasy demo disc shipped a pretty fucking awesome polygon fighter. And yeah, I mean, the first game was, a pretty popular title, and even though it was pretty obscure, but yeah, I don't know. Like Bushido Blade Jones, this one has a lot of strong memories back in the PlayStation 1 era.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a really strange game. Just like in the mechanic, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but when you see where the developers came from and kind of how this game plays, to me it kind of plays very Virtua Fighter Tekken-like. And then it has this weird counter throw kind of dynamic you can get going in it. But it's a fun game. It looks good, actually, to this day, for a PlayStation game. PlayStation games, they have a fond place in the heart, but they can be a little rough on the eyes at times.
Yeah, it's an understatement.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just back then, anything that was texture mapped in the game, just due to texture filtering and nib mapping, everything was just shimmering constantly on the PlayStation. It looked amazing back then, but it was always looking like PlayStation was about to explode at any given minute. Just with
just J.J. Abrams lens flares everywhere.
It's just a little, little intense. And like you're saying, Jones, it's like Tobal, because it had a flat shaded kind of texture treatment to it. It aged really well and allowed Tobal 1 and Tobal 2 to do some things that no other fighting game really could do on the system, which was, I think, two big things that stood out at the time. Was one, it was running at 60 frames per second, and nothing on the PlayStation was running that fast. Into my memory, I think it's one of the earliest examples of motion capture being used in a fighting game. So I think those two things, kind of together made this look really, really unique.
Yeah, well, that on top of, basically the man that designed all the characters for the game, which was Akira Toriyama from Dragon Ball fame.
Yeah, it's this is kind of a dream team of developers. Back then they always talked about Chrono Trigger being the Squaresoft dream team, but Tobal had a lot of very, very big heavy hitters, with Toriyama doing the character design, and this was right around the time when Dragon Ball was starting to become popular in the West. So the art was just really new and fresh, and of course, you have Yu Suzuki's kind of right-hand man, Seiichi Ishii, working on the system design for it. And, Ishii basically was one of the main combat designers, not only for Virtua Fighter, but then hopped ship and did work for the first two Tekken series.
Yeah, I've seen he did that, and worked on that Guys game that Square had that came out for
God bless the ring.
God bless the ring, yes.
I think either you or Daz gave me that orange shirt that came with the import game. I would rock that God bless the ring shirt.
I thought of that.
It was bright like traffic cone orange. It was. You get all sorts of girls' numbers when you have the God bless the ring shirt.
You would now, dude. You would now. But yeah, it's definitely, you can see his influence, like as the type of games that, you know, he designed and worked with, you know, getting to this. Because it does. It you know, it's not the same, just like Virtua Fighter and Tekken isn't the same. But it is, you know, punch, kick, you know, kick, punch, low, you know, tap directions, hit buttons. I had a good time with it. I think actually, I think this game would have done a lot better maybe with the different creator of the characters. Like, I love Dragon Ball Z. I think all the characters are amazing in Dragon Ball Z, but I find very few characters in this game appealing. As far as like just visually and aesthetically, like what I like, or who I want to play with.
I completely agree with you. You know, you kind of have to wonder how things kind of go down, right? Like, you know, with this title where they basically just like, Akira, draw whatever the fuck you want and we'll make a character out of it. Like, they're definitely leaning into this crazy science fiction fun universe, you know, where the tournament takes place. But the designs are pretty kind of
lame
out there. They're pretty out there. Some of them are.
Yeah, well, you got like Chuji, which kind of is a
Dragon Ball character.
He's kind of a Dragon Ball character looking as far as his hairstyle goes.
Oh yeah, he's like Silver Fox Goku.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and then I guess he's your main character, and he's on the box. His ending's kind of lame, but yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
We will. Yeah, I think he's cool as far as a character. I think Gren's kind of cool. He's the green guy with the green beanie.
Piccolo.
No, he's just a human. But yeah, outside of him, most of the characters are just kind of meh. You know, there's the chicken man thing guy.
Ready?
Yeah.
Was Henry Birdman looked better than him?
This guy's like a rooster. He's got like
Harvey Birdman. I bet from Battle Masters.
Oh wow, okay.
When I saw it, that's what I thought. I was like, holy shit, what's he doing here?
Birdman was a late 90s theme, I guess, Daz.
Somebody was really into that, man.
It's a flavor back then, I guess.
Pretty furry.
I like the characters. There's one called Dr. V that
Ready?
he's like very basic looking, but I kind of liked him just because he was, I don't know, he just was, it was different. He just had like a weird vibe to him. I liked it. But as far as I didn't think the female characters were that fun, you know, like in Virtua Fighter, like I'd be attracted to play with like Pi or Sarah.
Yeah, the characters in this game, some of them are really good, but they're all like, very DBZ obviiously, but
it's like the GoBots of DBZ is what that looks like.
Yeah,
I see where you're coming from.
Secondhand DBZ, and it's like
you're gonna play chicken. You're gonna play chicken. And
the fucking GoBots.
The boss is a rabbit. The boss is like a rabbit dude.
So like okay. Chuji's like leader one, and Grin's Psycho. Is that what's happening here?
I guess something like that. But I think one of the things that I loved about this game, this had this really nuanced kind of judo feeling of leverage and reversal and using the grapple to position the character you're fighting against. And I think something about that felt really it felt like a judo version. Some of the best parts of Virtua Fighter and some of the best parts of Tekken, just in terms of mechanics.
I feel like I mentioned, kind of like the characters. It's basically the aesthetics. It's not really like the visuals, but it's more just like the vibe the game's giving off for a fighter. I think this game plays better than Virtua Fighter. But the Virtua Fighter kind of trumps it in my book for the aesthetics along with the play. But I do think the gameplay of this is better than Virtua Fighter.
But if you're not, I mean...
but I can't get attached to the characters.
No, I can't either. Like, I just don't give a shit about it, you know what I mean? It's like Ken and Ryu and Blanca and things like that, I immediately attached to that pretty hard, pretty much. And Scorpion. That whole aesthetic for each of those games, but this, it just, it was just like, okay, whatever. But you're right, the play, I mean, it plays well. I'm just not into those types.
So you didn't make it to Nork.
No, I did not.
Tell you about Nork.
Tell me about Nork.
Nork is very large.
Yeah.
Unusually
you like
large.
Massive sprites. Nork is. This is not a fair fight. This man shouldn't be in the same tournament. But yeah, like as you're playing the game, it's got a time that keeps track of how long you've been playing the game. Now, I'm not sure if that unlocks anything if you beat it over a certain time or not, or it just sets a high score. But regardless, Nork is the second to last character. And as long as it took me just to get to him, it took me twice as long to get past him.
Nork wasn't having it.
Oh, he has like this invisible box around him. So he's got this giant girth on the stage. So you can't sweep him low.
Just
kind of
just
pushes
getting
your
to
character
him.
away from
just
him.
getting to him is hard in the zone game. Like just getting close enough to strike is half 3/4 of the fight.
Half the battle.
Yeah, and he actually has your strawberry jam combo. He has 2 massive uppercuts that takes like half your life, and usually just sends you flying out of the ring. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. I didn't think I was gonna get past it.
I like that as a term, the strawberry jam uppercut.
Thing's nasty, man. That's the thing of
There's the Dragon
nightmares.
Punch, there's the Mortal Kombat uppercut, and then there's the strawberry jam uppercut.
That's BJ.
Yeah, I thought if Daz didn't get to him, did you have trouble with him, Gohan?
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, in the first game and in the second game, both of the boss runs were super difficult. This one with Nork, just because, like you're saying, he's just so massive, it's impossible to get to him, and he's basically three attacks on you of knocking you out of the ring typically, or just pummeling you into a puddle. And Udan, the rabbit-looking guy, he is just like a flurry of chip attacks. Flips, forward flips, flurries of sweeps and stuff like that. He kind of does the same thing as Nork, but he's chipping you out of the ring. He's just constantly putting pressure where Nork is basically just taking a huge uppercut baseball bat to you and smacking you out of the ring just because he's so fucking huge,
Yeah, he's got combos that invert gravity.
Nice.
He'll do a flip and stop mid-flip where he doesn't hit the ground and go back the other direction and hit you. They're evil. Actually, I think I lost just one time getting to Nork, and then as soon as I think the very first Nork fight, he perfects me twice. I just wasn't. It just totally got amped up.
Yeah.
It's it's about a 4. We're gonna turn it up to 15.
Yep. Well, one of the things that was also cool about this game, unfortunately, the second one didn't make it to the States just because the first one, they were just kind of gun shy on putting it out. I think they saw the first one, even though it was packed in with Final Fantasy. Like, they just didn't see it as a financial success. But when they were bringing this to the PlayStation, they were very much trying to think about what does this mean for the home audience. And Ishii, the designer, was like, we're going to make an amazing fighting game, but like Bushido Blade, they had a fairly deep kind of quest mode, for you to like just train and test your skills against the computer in a non 1v1 way.
Yeah, the quest mode was actually pretty cool. It was hard. Like I didn't make it past the first dungeon. I just didn't have the time to put into it. I kind of put a bit of time into just kind of learning the nuances of the fighting game itself, just so I wasn't just, even though the video footage may look like me mashing buttons, I'm actually attempting to do things.
There's thought going into what I'm doing.
Yes. But yeah, like when you got into the maze, like you had like a little inventory system, you could pick things up, then you had little like runes, you could attach to kind of like your inventory that would give you like more defense or more life and stuff like that. I was reading, I guess if you go through that, there's like an additional, I don't know how many characters exactly in total you would get from the quest.
There are hundreds of characters. It's insane.
Yeah, I was reading it. It's over 200 characters total after that's unlocked, counting the whatever 7 or 8 that you can choose from the get-go.
So you're telling me that there's probably 80 characters that many people never saw.
Once you get a character beaten down, like low on health, you could essentially like throw this like crystal at them and you trap them in the crystal, and that's actually how you save them to play in 1v1 or in campaign if you wanted to. So it was kind of neat. You go through the dungeon, start kicking these monsters' asses, and then once they got to like the last 5% of health, you throw this crystal at them and catch them and kind of collect them like baseball cards a little bit.
It was pretty cool. You could pick food up, put it in your backpack, pull it out, eat some cheese.
It's what every growing fighter needs.
Yeah, it had like a little like RPG kind of area where you could have like a little store, which actually the store was kind of cool because I went into it and all the items are kind of laying around on the floor. So I just go around and pick them all up. And, they tell me, I forget, it's so much money. I don't have any money, so I can't buy anything. But it literally won't let me leave the room until I take all the stuff out of my inventory and drop it back down on the ground. But that was kind of...
Thieving bastard.
Yeah, like it didn't just, take it from me. I actually had to give it back. I was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, like there was a place in... when this game came out, I was in college in Florida, and there's these kind of chain of game stores called Game Trader down there. And this is back when like video game stores would actually buy your games back at a decent price. And if y'all remember, back then import games were always more expensive. They were just, if a game in the West was $100.
I remember.
Yeah, if a game in the West was, $50. Import copy is $100 plus, with shipping. And they had at Game Trader a copy of Tobal 2 that they had in there that was highly marked up. I just remember like trading in like 4 Bush League PlayStation 1 games to get that. And, I definitely got my money's worth out of that. If you just kind of got through the first like, layer of the maze, Jones, I pretty much cleared that game out. So it was back when I really appreciated each game that I had.
Got 100% this thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Entertainment was a premium.
Yeah, it did. I thought the game had I would say nothing memorable sticks out to me, but I think the music in general was totally fine for when you were playing. Like it wasn't distracting or I didn't hear anything bad. I didn't hear anything like really stand out that I'd want to listen to. But I thought the music did its job pretty well.
No, the only thing I heard was me get tossed around the ring way too much.
Making
Just all over the
head
place.
making contact with Mac.
Yep. Yeah, a little old man throwing me around. Every time I swung, he just grab an appendage and throw it around. Yeah. Yeah.
These are skilled fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. It may have helped a little bit. Like back in the day, I used to play I think we played Tobal 1. Me and Gohan did. We had Grin and Chuji battles.
Epic battles.
Epic battles.
The Tobal Budokai.
Yeah, it's a fun game. It's cool to go back to. I haven't played it. I haven't even thought about it in a long time. So it was good too.
Because you couldn't remember the characters.
There's good old what's his name and not Trunks and
Yep.
There's a robot.
yeah, there's like Kung Fu C-3PO something.
Angry wrestler woman.
Yep.
Majin Buu might be in it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like Daz is saying, it's kind of like it's in one of his other, sketchbooks. He's like, "Hey, what do you think about these?" He's cool, right?
It like came from, like he would have like stuff you designed and like, this is all keeper, this is my stuff. And it's kind of like, yeah, I gave you out of this book. This is the stuff I don't want this.
I was gonna throw these out.
Yeah, these aren't coming to Dragon Ball, so yeah, these are for sale.
Yep, and the Dragon Quest folks passed on them too, so they're all yours. I did, Jones, like the music a lot. In the first game, they use like a whole like kind of roster of composers, whereas in this one, I think maybe just due to Ishii's background, he brought the one of the main music guys from Sega over to work on Tobal 2. Worked on big time stuff like Virtua Fighter, while he was over at Sega. But he also worked on some pretty kind of amazing classic Sega titles. He worked on eSWAT and worked on Streets of Rage and a few others. I think, he worked on Moonwalker. So he's definitely a kind of a Sega OG.
Don't make Jones think about Moonwalker.
Michael.
Yeah, I don't know what that's you're trying to compliment this man. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Moonwalker's music's amazing. That's we we can't all be winners, folks.
Nah. No, I thought the music really did its job, but even the
Whistle a tune.
even Virtua Fighters music doesn't really stick out. I'm not saying it's bad by any means at all. It's just nothing like really.
Yeah, it's kind of upbeat, tempo, jazzy anime music.
It does its job.
It does its job.
Chuji's ending's pretty weird. That's the only ending I got to see because that's once I beat those last two guys, I was not doing that battle again. It is a long, drawn out battle. Frustration. But apparently, we're in the USA, in this world.
Wait,
because
what?
we have like he's got a big bag of money. It's got dollar bills in it. He flips a coin and
Got
it's
greenbacks.
actually a US nickel. So I'm guessing, I don't know. It's very I didn't understand the ending, and then that just made it more
A mystery.
I was more confused. Yes.
Yeah, I have no idea what the story. It's some tournament. It's a fight for destiny, and that's about it.
Emperor Rabbit.
Emperor. Yeah, exactly. Emperor Udan wants to kick some ass, and he's brought Nork with him.
And there's Mufu.
Oh,
Mofo.
Krang thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, him and the robot home, they are just like these rapid succession of kick characters. And man, next to the bosses, those two guys are probably the hardest for me to get through because they're just kind of like these just chip flurry characters. Where are we going next?
What?
This choice is hard. It's very hard. We just did like a little trilogy here of games that were not made by Capcom or SNK. So we're moving to stage 2. And stage 2 is a fighting game made by SNK. So, my job, it's just so tough because there's
like... You said before we jumped on the call tonight that this was, quote, the most difficult decision I've had to make in my life.
It is, because there's a couple of these games need to be talked about, and I'm so scared if I go one
You
way,
think Geese is
someone
gonna come kick your ass?
No, I just don't think it'll get picked. Like, I think something weird will happen. Like, we'll be playing like Breaker's Revenge or something. I'm nervous.
What are you talking about, man?
Choose wisely.
Yeah, it's like I want to pick.
You want to pick the 3.
Yeah, I want to pick all 3 of them. Yeah, but I can't. I can only pick one. So I went with King of Fighters '98.
It all began in 94, kept on rolling in 95. Where's later?
98, good choice. That's a good year.
It's a good year. It's a fine year. So
It's a fine vintage. The Orochi saga in full swing.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'll say the lore in King of Fighters was way better than anything they ever bothered with on Street Fighter. And I know it's not important, but for King of Fighters, it was freaking awesome.
yeah, it did. I wanted to go. Like, my heart told me go 95 because like 95 brings like that's the first appearance of like Kyo and Yori.
Yeah,
and that's kind of when, like 94 came out and it was kind of like groundbreaking at the time, but then 95 kind of amped it up just a little bit, kind of polished it up a little bit more, brought some really cool new characters in, and that's what I wanted to go with. But then, like if you kind of translate that into Street Fighter, you had Street Fighter 2, then Champion Edition, then Turbo, and for me Turbo was kind of like the
peak,
the magic spot.
Yep.
And
then it got stupid.
Yeah, so as the King of Fighters went down the road a little bit, 98 was kind of like the turbo. It was amped pretty good speed. Got power dunks happening. So yeah, power dunks gotta happen.
Got power geezers.
You got geezers. You got 2 super moves. You got Yori blowing people up.
That was... Yeah, because that was the one where when you had the low health, you could do the super duper move.
Yeah, you had 2 supers. Yeah.
That was cool. Yori's was crazy. He was so much fun. He was always a cleanup man.
Yes, I thought that's what I went with. Like I said,
Okay, so this episode is actually King of Fighters.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. So I didn't choose it. No. Instead, I went with
Waku.
Yeah.
Dark Horse selection by Joe.
All that to say, guys, we're not playing it.
Yeah, stick around next week, and we'll go back and check out King of Fighters '98 and see if it still holds up. Till then, this is Jones with Dazpick and Gohan. We are signing out.
Crack
Later.
shoot.
Patak!